Ian,
Dave.
how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm excellent.
What are we doing here?
So this is the TeamClearCoat podcast, Ian.
Yes, it is.
You've come over to my house to record the podcast that we've been doing since September 2015.
That's true. And it's the morning. This is the first time we've ever done an episode in the morning.
I think so. I'm maybe about 75% of my caffeine level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is. I have a feeling that I'm not going to look up and suddenly see Abe Vigoda at some point during this episode. So hopefully Dave won't get too sleepy.
We'll see. Yeah. So anyway, I'm Dave.
I am Ian, and we're going to try something new.
Oh boy,
another new thing.
You got your finger out.
We're going to tell the people what we're going to talk about. Because we figured out, we write it down anyway.
Right.
And the show always ends up being longer than we expect it to be.
It does.
So why don't we just tell the people what we're going to talk about?
Yes.
Because then people can fast forward through the things that aren't interesting to them.
So straight to the plugs.
Right. Just straight to the end of it and on to the next podcast in the queue.
Right.
So we will be talking about our track day that we did. That's going to be the bulk of the episode.
Yes, it is.
Our track day report from this weekend. We'll also be talking about some political developments with EPA testing budgets under the new the proposed budget that the president put out. So we'll be talking about that later. But right now,
Ian,
I have a surprise for Dave, but it's couched in Dave's least favorite thing. So I have something that Dave is going to like, I think, couched in something that Dave hates.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like candy wrapped in a Dave Matthews Band CD?
Yes. It's exactly like that.
Okay.
So we're going to talk podcasting about podcasting for a second.
Okay.
Which is Dave's least favorite thing. We have a new website.
We do. We have a new website. Ian worked very hard and made us a fantastic website.
It's okay. And I didn't work that hard on it, to be honest. So, Dave, would you mind showing it to the people?
Of course.
Can we show it to the Twitch stream?
Yeah, let's
if you're
do that.
listening to this in audio format, play along at home.
Yeah.
TeamClearCoat.com.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. Apparently, no one else wanted that.
Yeah, huh? Go figure.
Yeah.
All
so
right.
You go to the TeamClearCoat.com.
Look at that. Pretty.
And look up. I want to draw your attention. So on here will be any blog posts that I actually complete ever, and then links to all of our stuff all over the place. So finally, everything in one place. You can just go and there's links everywhere. This is not what I want to talk about. The surprise is that you see this navigation bar up at the top here.
Yeah.
There are some Easter eggs.
Oh, really?
In the website.
Oh, okay.
What I would like you to do at this time is put in the URI. For anyone who doesn't know, URI is that little extension after the slash. Taffy.
What? Ian?
Go ahead and just scroll down.
Oh, that's so great. Ian, Dave found you at an RV. Ian, this is fantastic. These, for the listeners, these are pictures of when we went to Georgetown, when we did the Lemons race, when I'm pointing at the camera in my racing outfit, me not being happy.
That was about the Buick Encore or whatever it is.
Oh, Ian, that's so nice. I love that.
And also for you,
go
ahead and change that to whiskey.
Oh, yes. Okay.
This is just for you. I hope you know how much this killed me to do.
Oh, Ian. It's pictures of Grumpy Ian, St. Patrick's Day Grumpy, Christmas Grumpy. Also, you need the one with you and the red nose on.
I have Jenny. I was like, Jenny, do you have? I asked my wife if she had any pictures of me being grumpy, and she was like, hold on, links incoming. And she was just sending me so many. I was just like, okay, I get it.
Oh.
And then, after I told her to stop, she was like, just know that there are more.
Of course there are, Ian.
I know that.
Of course there are. That's fantastic. And then an adorable picture of Nico Oh, Ian. Ian, that's fantastic. Thank you so much, buddy.
No problem. That's an Easter egg for the website. You know, why not?
That's fantastic. Taffy and whiskey. I love it, buddy. I love it.
That was my surprise for you.
Ian, that's fantastic. I love it. Thanks, man.
No problem. All right.
Yeah.
So, should we move on to the things that people actually want to hear us talk about?
Definitely.
Too bad, because we're going to talk about our track day instead. All right.
Ian.
Yes.
We did a track day at High Plains Raceway.
We did, and I got a lot of laps in.
Yes. So it was the track day with Emick Volkswagen.
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and pull up a map of High Plains Raceway so we can talk about it.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can talk through some of the turns and all of that.
We did the full day, which cost us $140. Something like that, right?
It was 125, yeah.
125, okay.
Which is pretty good for the amount of race. Like, I had to fill up my tank. Like, I ran out of gas.
You did.
It was awesome. And everyone was super great and friendly.
As we're accustomed to.
Yeah, as always. And we got to run the full course. It's been a long time since I've gotten to run the full course with my car.
Yeah.
And I found a lap timer for my
for
my
your
Android.
phone. That was awesome.
So that was nice to kind of put a little bit of science to it instead of just like, I go fast.
Right. So we start the day by getting your winter tires off of your car.
Yes.
Putting your summers on.
Yes.
Going to the driver's meeting.
Yeah.
Hoping that your lug nuts were the correct lug nuts for your car.
I'm super smart, and I forgot the lug nuts for my summers, which are slightly different, but they ended up being the same.
The important thing is you remembered the special socket for your lug nuts because you have one of those fancy security socket lug nuts. Yeah, exactly. That anybody could buy on eBay.
Or is defeated by a 17 millimeter socket head that you don't care about and a sledgehammer.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how you defeat those.
Gotcha. Okay.
Just nail it fucking on. Just bonk.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So there was a lead follow. We put ourselves in the beginner group for whatever reason. I think we probably didn't need to do that.
And we're gonna get to that. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
And we skipped the lead follow while we were working on your car.
Yep. And then so the advanced group went out. We kind of
half-hour intervals.
Yeah, we kind of BS, which is a long session.
It is.
They were long sessions.
Yep, and so they switched them at the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour, and they didn't make any kind of announcement. I think before they might have made an announcement, or
I think we just weren't in a place where we could hear the PA.
Right.
High Plains, for anyone who's never been there, which is probably most of the people who are listening to this, it's a great track.
It's an amazing track,
but it's pretty new.
And
they don't have a ton of like amenities.
Right.
They don't have the sort of like great paddock that like Road America would have. Something that like a large race series would help pay for.
Right. Exactly.
Because they don't have any large race series.
And it's in the middle of nowhere.
It really is.
It's far away from civilization. All the water has to be trucked in.
Yeah.
It's nothing but portalets and
trailers.
Trailers for bathrooms. Yeah, stuff like that. So, yeah.
But it's a fantastic track. It really is. It's so much fun, and it's like there's always places to find speed around there, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, it's always kind of a challenge.
Yeah. So I'll just kind of mouse around a little bit and
before we get to that, let's talk about what's actually more interesting than talking about my track day, which is your track day.
Sure. Yeah. Let's talk about it. So, with the Infinity, I had my Firestones on. I had the stainless steel brake lines and slotted and drilled rotors in the front of my car and new brake pads. And
this is your Infinity M45.
Yes, Sport. It's the rear-wheel drive model. They were more typically sold as the at least in Colorado, the M35X, the all-wheel drive
that's what we
V6.
See all the time, yeah.
I have the V8 rear-wheel drive Sport, 5-speed automatic transmission, very high and very visible seating position, and I kept the roof rack on for the duration of the day. So there's the car there with your awesome little V-dub right behind it. So this was the first track outing of my Infinity, and probably probably the only track day I'm ever going to do with the Infinity.
You think so?
I do, and we'll get into that later. But I firmly believe that a day at the track can teach you a lot about the handling of your car.
Yeah.
Because if you're willing to do this, and it takes an effort on your part to push the car beyond what you do on the street, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like with the Infinity, since I bought it, I've had it, 4 months now, maybe? 5 months, something like that?
Yeah.
With the Infinity, I never quite felt like I clicked with the car. Like I never quite got it, right? Until this track day.
Mm-hmm.
Now I really feel in tune with the car. I really like that mechanical feel for what the car can give me, because it is a luxury car, so it does a good job of isolating you from a lot of things, but it is a touch sporty. I mean, I think we'd agree that it is a touch sporty, even without the mods that I've made, right? Yeah. So I never quite felt gelled with it, and I certainly do now. So because I could push it, because I could get towards the limits of grip, all of these things with the car, I feel a lot more confident driving it on a daily basis. I feel better in the car.
Right.
And that's worth $125 and a nice, beautiful day at the track.
Yeah.
You can't do that on the street. You can't legally and safely do that kind of stuff on the street.
No.
And an excellent thing about it is with a track, no matter what the size of the track is, the layout, anything like that, as long as you're doing the same corner, the same straightaways over and over throughout the day, you'll build up that kind of learning what the car will give you versus what you can give it. Right. Consistency is the most important thing when it comes to learning your car.
Yeah.
Right. And it's also the thing you really strive for in lap times and things like that, because that's the jumping off point to getting better on the track.
To adding speed. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. So first time out in the Infinity, I was by myself. We rode with each other quite a bit, which was awesome.
That was a lot of fun.
But I was by myself. I had no idea what to expect. And so I was at let's see here. I had flown down the straightaway. I had done the right-hand turn, the left-hand turn, and I was heading downhill towards Danny's lesson. And it was about to be Ginger's lesson because
turn 6 at High Plains is I don't know if you can see on the stream or on the YouTube video. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There's a lot of elevation change happening here. You're crossing a lot of lines. This is all downhill, and it gets steeper as you go, and the apex is basically at the bottom of the hill.
Right, and you'll see it's a very late apex. The turn really tightens, but it's very easy, even though this is a short distance between turns 5 and 6, to build a lot of speed because it's downhill.
Right.
You actually can carry some speed through turn 5, and it's downhill. It's really easy to pile
on camber.
Speed. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of a nice little corner if you can get it right. If you get it wrong,
you're sliding down the side of the hill.
Yeah, you go off in pretty spectacular fashion.
Yeah. That's why this wall here is so far away.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that is a fun little complex there.
So I was heading down towards Danny's lesson, aka Ginger's lesson, and I braked hard, and the pedal just went to the floor.
Ugh.
And that's what we call a code brown.
Yeah.
Something might have come out. And but I was braking very, very early because I'm not aware of I had never done that in this car. The car weighs 4,100 pounds.
Yeah.
It had an almost full tank of gas too. So I mean, a lot of weight at the time. And so since I braked so early, I could back off the brakes and build up pressure again and get around the turn, and then I just kind of limped the car the rest of the way around the track, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not braking too hard. And the pedal feel came back as I was going around the rest of the track. And I was looking behind me to see if I could see brake fluid leaking or anything like that. And I think that I got back to the paddock. You were still out on the track. And I got underneath the car. I looked at the brake lines and made sure nothing was leaking. Everything was tight and dry. and so then I just drove around the parking lot a little bit, kind of learning the pedal feel. And so I think a couple things happened. I think I just straight up overcooked the brakes.
Yeah.
I think that there could have been a little bit of air in the line still from when the stainless lines were put on that never came out, right?
Could be.
And I was just way too overzealous because in the Saab, even though the brakes sucked, you could just lean into them. You could just put your foot hard, and you could determine the point where ABS would kick in and where it wouldn't, right?
Right.
And also when I was doing this first lap, I had traction control off. So I wonder if that might have disabled my ABS or done something with the braking as well. Like, I'm not sure. So I'm going to need to try something like that again in a safe place to see what happens. But also, with the Infinity, it has that safety feature where if you brake super hard, it tightens up the seatbelt and pulls you towards the seat, which is very nice. I mean, that
would be nice on a track day,
right?
Actually, so you're not moving around so much.
Yeah.
Especially in your seats, because that's the biggest problem with your car.
Right. It's a luxury car. Yeah.
The seats just do not hold you in.
Yeah, and like it was with the Saab, it's a core workout while you're going around because you're clinging to the steering wheel and bracing yourself. You know. Yeah.
But you went back out, and I rode with you. For a while, and I think you definitely made some big progress. From your first couple of laps where I was riding with you, I think.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and a lot of that was getting that confidence back up, learning the grip of the car, and also before we move on to that stuff, I just want to say, power stop, brake pads, and rotors are pieces of shit. Never buy them. I'm going to get some actual no shit brake pads before those rotors get too bedded in, and see if that just makes a difference with pedal feel. Because the biggest reason I went with stainless steel brake lines on my car was to get a stiffer pedal feel.
Right.
I don't have that. And I don't know if that's just the brake booster doing its brake booster thing to keep it as a luxury car, because you should just be able to apply the brakes, but I'm just gonna swap the pads out, and then from a braking system perspective, the car is going to be done. I'm not going to do anything else to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I know with my pads, because I run the Hawk HPSs, and I really like them because they're a good compromise.
They are really
between
good.
Street and track for the amount of track driving I do, which isn't that much. But they kind of they have this weird curve to them.
Yeah.
Where as they're getting warm, they get the pedal feel gets softer, and then after they come up to temperature, the pedal feel firms way up.
Yep.
Until the point
where
they get really hot, and then the pedal goes to the floor and they get grabby.
Yes. You will lock a wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even with the ABS, which I'm usually pretty good about staying out of ABS, getting to that point.
Right.
I'll get into ABS every once in a while. I try not to.
For us, ABS is that indication that you're over braking just a touch.
Right.
Because the maximum braking is right before ABS cuts in.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know that car well enough. I can usually nail that. But once those brakes get too hot, those pads just grab.
They do.
They get super grabby.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you were in the car when that happened on turn 4.
Yep.
Which is at that point in my car I'm doing what 110, 115,
120. Yeah.
Right at the end of this really long straight.
Yeah. Right here.
Yeah, Biker's Berm. And that's it's also kind of that corner you can carry a ton of speed through, and I always leave a lot on the table, especially when I'm in my car.
Right.
Because I could and I have turned in there at 80 before.
Okay.
But there's not much room for error then.
No,
because it's one of those. There's a couple of turns on this track that are really interesting because they're flat on line,
right,
and then they fall away the further offline you get.
Yeah, it's almost like punishment.
Yeah, that's one of them where you could easily, and I've seen it happen, get sucked down into here.
Yep.
In that little grassy area between turns 4 and 5.
Yep.
There's some other ways for that to go terribly wrong too.
Right. Right.
And it's kind of an unsighted because you're going uphill to turn 4.
Right.
It's sort of unsighted.
It is,
going into it. So
it's a little bit of a blind hill, and there is a reason that this wall right here is there.
Right.
It's because people overshoot this
Yeah.
and go sliding down the hill.
Exactly.
Right.
So it is a little puckery down in that corner, and I know that's partly just our inexperience or whatever, but I find that one pretty challenging to keep my fortitude up. But anyway, so my brakes got pretty hot right at the end of that braking zone, and so like the initial bite was fine,
right,
and then they grab,
yep,
and then the pedal like almost like gets sucked away from me, and I'm like, okay, time to cool it down.
Yeah, we were riding it, and you just instantly said, "Okay, we're done," and I was like, "Really?" And then you told me as we were kind of taking it easy around the track, for the rest of the lap, that those phases that your pads go through.
Yeah, but other than that, and that was like right at the end of a 30-minute session.
Yeah,
which I'm so happy with how well your car
did so well. Ian.
Yeah,
it really did. Yeah, it was fantastic. So,
but I was thinking, I want to talk about one thing because I was thinking about this yesterday, as far as your driving, when it comes to this track. So I feel like you've almost done yourself a disservice with your car selection for both with the Saab and with this and with the Infiniti. And not that either of those cars are bad or anything. It's just that I feel like with my car, it's a little bit more like immediately confidence inspiring. So it like gives me the space to learn the line really well.
Yep.
And I feel like you're so busy. Like we all have X amount of process available.
Right.
You are using so much more of yours to like manage, the tires,
body roll, braking
in dusty and everything else. And then, the
torque
weight.
Steer.
Yeah, and torque steer. Yeah, you had a lot to manage with Dusty, and then with the Infiniti, just managing the weight.
Yep.
And the transmission.
Yep.
Is another thing you really have to manage with that car. That like you can't just concentrate on line for like 5 laps.
Right. I can't.
And I feel like if you could just get 5 laps in of just thinking about line and not thinking about anything else, you'd have it nailed.
Right.
Because when I was driving with you and we were talking through individual corners, you would get noticeably faster immediately.
Okay.
And I think it was just that when I wasn't in the car, you were thinking about the car.
Yes.
But when I was there and we were having a discussion,
we were thinking about the line.
You were
exactly
able to
right.
narrow in on it.
Yeah. Because I think I did execute some turns very well when you were in the car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
High Plains Drifter.
That's my turn.
It really is. You've got that one nailed. So that's turn 7.
Yeah.
And
it's uphill like
it's
crazy.
Hard to see here.
Right.
But it's a steep uphill.
Sweeping
right-hand turn. And what's really interesting about it is that like the entrance to it is completely choose your own adventure. And in a race, you will see a
wide line, a narrow line,
100 different lines, and they're all
right. They're all right. Correct. Yeah.
Right. But the exit of it is really weird because it looks like you're just shooting up toward the sky,
and the road is that you won't make the turn.
Right.
Yeah.
Because from where you're sitting, it
you
looks like
it keeps turning.
Yeah.
Because you can only see that much, right? Yeah.
But you can kind of aim. You just kind of aim it to the horizon and just like, I think the racetrack will be there when I get there.
Yep. And guess what? The road is there.
And it's there, and there's grip, and it's good. Like it's. But then you get this tricky braking zone for 8. If you get a little too overzealous, you can really fuck yourself over on 8. But that
is my turn.
Well, and your car,
just
like the weight because you have so much leeway on the entrance to that corner.
I load up the suspension early.
You can just slow motion it into the corner and end up with a slightly wider line. And once that weight gets settled over the rear, you're just fucking gone.
I stick, and the V8 just does what it does.
Yeah,
those rear tires are just stuck. I did not upset the rear of the car at all on this track day.
Yeah, it was.
There was the one final chicane that you got a touch panicked on, that the rear just stepped out just
under braking,
a touch.
Right?
Yeah,
under braking.
Yep.
Well, yeah, you were very ambitious with that one.
I was, but who made it through the turn? And also, you're a horrible passenger.
I'm terrible.
You are awful.
Really bad.
For as brave as you are in the driver's seat, you are like 1/100th that brave in the passenger seat.
Yeah,
you really are. Like,
it's true.
And I think it's just the opposite for you and I, which means that we're going to be the perfect rally team. You driving and me co-driving.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I like it.
I mean, yeah, because I wouldn't want you co-driving.
No.
Everything would be like one left,
we're
one
gonna
right,
die.
One right. Yeah. Ian, this is a straight. I'm pretty sure I can get out of first gear. No.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, there's a tree over there. We're going 5 miles an hour.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I know. I'm a terrible passenger. I know it.
It's not that I get upset with you being a terrible passenger. I know what I'm getting into now, especially after we played in the snow that one day, where you basically peed in my car, right?
It's true.
But I love the dichotomy, because you fucking fly on the track. You're very fast and very brave. You know your car very well, and you go for it, just like you do whenever you're driving go-karts, anything else.
See, but when I'm driving my car on the track, it doesn't feel like that. It feels like it feels like, oh, this is where I'm leaving stuff on the table.
Right.
This is where I could have gone faster. That's all I think about.
Yeah. And when you're a passenger, all you do is freak the fuck out.
It's true.
It is amazing. And so, like, which makes me think about, like, when we took ride-alongs during ice racing and when you've ridden in race cars. You know, like, I wish I could see the video from that, or like be inside your head for a minute.
You know, the only time I've been scared on a ride along is that fucking Jetta Cup car.
Okay. So it's just me and really fast front wheel drive cars. It's your confidence in the driver.
No, not necessarily.
I'm just messing with you.
No, because I think most race cars are they're more like settled.
Yeah.
And it's when things happen unexpectedly. When I feel things through the seat of my pants that happen unexpectedly, that's when I get nervous. So, like, your weird transmissions, like shift downs in the middle of a corner.
Yep.
That unsettles me.
Right.
Or your first couple of braking zones,
right,
to be honest, unsettled me a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we talked about,
I was braking the wrong way. I was braking the opposite way that I should. And
right.
Yeah, and so I'd certainly like to talk about that. So you taught me, and I'm pretty sure I've read this before, but I forgot it. As I was trying to build up the confidence with my brakes again, I was braking progressively and increasing the braking pressure as I would get closer to the corner, which is the exact wrong way to do it.
Right.
Because if you think about it, you're putting all of that weight. I'm going to use my hand so Twitch can see it, right? If this is the front of the car, hello, right? And here's the back, my wrist, right? You're putting, as you're going towards the turn, you're rolling all that weight forward if you're braking hard,
right,
as you get towards the turn, which you can only have so much brake and so much grip. You can't have all of both.
Right.
Right? And so like you said, you want the car to be the most settled it can be whenever you get to the point where you start turning. And so the goal is to brake very hard very quickly, and then to roll off the brakes as you get closer to the turn to settle the weight of the car back down,
right,
to allow you to have grip to turn.
Right.
Right.
And especially it becomes more important in a car like yours where you're managing weight transfer.
Yes, a large degree of weight transfer. Yeah.
Right, because then if you think about it, you know, when you turn in, you're supposed to be on throttle again.
Right.
On, like, if you're getting on maintenance throttle or whatever, unless you're trying to do some sort of like trail braking stuff. But neither of us are to that point, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, like, that would be a really big unsettling moment if you're deep into the brakes.
Right.
And then go immediately to throttle.
Right.
It would just unsettle the car and you would lose, front end grip and everything else.
Yeah.
So that was just one thing that I noticed that I thought would be a low-hanging fruit thing to kill.
Definitely. Yeah, and I appreciate it. I think if I was in another car, I would really be able to lean into that and do that. And so because you do an excellent job of that. You have your technique sorted, and you were laying down some really consistent lap times. I
was pretty happy when I started looking at my lap times that I had like 5 or 6 laps that were all within a second of each other, I think, in a row.
But you there was something about you mentally that day. You were very focused, right? Mm-hmm. But you just seemed to not be happy with your performance on the track.
Have we met before?
Right, but it seemed to be a touch different.
Oh,
you're very hard on yourself when it comes to this, and I would. Now you're feeling better now that you've looked at the times, right?
Well, yes and no, because it's frustrating when in my head, I know exactly where I'm losing time and what I need to do.
Right.
But when it comes time to do it,
I
just don't do it. I just can't bring myself to do it. Like turn 4 is definitely one where because that compromises my run to 5.
Right.
And I know I could carry more speed through 5.
Yes, you could. Yeah.
And that's a ton of time I'm leaving on the table. I bet I could get another second or 2.
Yep.
Out of just that 4-5-6 complex.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Without really getting near the limits of the car.
Yeah.
The other place is the 8, 9, 10 complex. I lift going through 9, and I don't need to.
Okay. Yeah. No, you don't. And short shifting into 9 that's a long downhill run.
I still like the short shift, but I still lift going through 9B.
Right.
And I don't need to.
No, you don't. Yeah.
I end up one thing that I consistently do in every car that I drive, and I think it might just be my driving style, I don't know, is I tend to overstop the car and then drive through the corner.
Oh,
I feel more comfortable doing that.
Right.
And I know that especially if I'm going to drive things that are especially front wheel drive cars.
Right.
Or
can't do
underpowered cars.
Yeah.
I'll be dead in the water if I do that. So I need to learn that momentum driving technique, and part of it and this is where my car is a disadvantage,
right?
Because it understeers so fucking bad.
It does,
but it has such great traction out of the corner.
It does, yeah.
That overstopping thing kind of makes sense with that car,
right?
But I do want to learn that technique of that momentum driving thing, and I just don't have it.
And I think that would benefit your car very well. Because you have such a flat torque curve, right? Mm-hmm. Having that momentum and being able to carry that little bit of speed will go a long way, because you can't make up those big gains by overcoming it with power, right? Where I could pick up time with Rusty just coming on to boost out of a turn, right? You don't have that, so it's really important for you to maintain that momentum, and Yeah, because you can't throw just another 100 horsepower at it.
Which that would be nice.
Right.
If I just woke up one morning and I had another 100 horsepower in that car, it would be amazing.
Yeah, it would. It would.
But
it's not gonna happen. Exactly. Yeah. So I think one discovery that you and I made during this time was that there were, if we got to the track entrance right when it was time to shift between the runs, we could get a couple clean laps in without anybody else on the track.
Right.
We had tons of unobstructed lap time.
Yeah.
Right. And during this track day, it was all point to pass. So you would point out your window at the side that you wanted the person to pass on. But you and I did the advanced group, and I was more comfortable in the advanced group.
Yeah, everyone was a little more predictable, even though people could pass wherever. So in the beginner group, really the only difference was that there were designated passing zones.
Yep.
Which honestly made it worse. It was, I think, more dangerous, because you ended up, there's such a huge horsepower disparity. And ability disparity.
Yeah.
Where at one point in a beginner group, we had a Hellcat in with us.
Yep.
And which is 3 times the horsepower of my car.
Right. Exactly.
3 times.
Yeah.
And it was unmanageable. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, first of all, he was completely sideways through turn 1. Like,
yes.
In the brief time I was behind him, I saw more of the side of his car than I did the back. And this doesn't give you the idea of how puckering it would be to be sideways through turn 1.
Yeah.
But it's a fast corner.
Yep.
It's flat, but the inside of it is all wall. So it's blind. It's a blind turn in. You can't see it until it's time for the turn, and you can't see the exit. And
you just have to know that it's a little bit less than 90 degrees.
Yeah. And it is slightly off camera, but there's enough runoff that you're going to be fine.
Yeah. And you can make up for that by hopping onto the side. What are those called?
The curbs.
Yeah, the curb, because then you kind of level your car out at that point.
A little bit.
Yeah.
It's a sketchy corner.
Yeah.
To be to be super aggressive on.
Remember that Acura Integra that we saw on our very first track day? The Giant Slayer?
Yeah, I remember that.
I will never forget the speed that car could carry into that turn.
It was ridiculous.
It was amazing. I've never seen a car carry that much speed into that turn.
Yeah.
Other than that Integra. That it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so fast. It was like the guy wasn't even braking at all. It
was crazy.
After a straightaway.
Well, and that straightaway is all uphill.
Yeah.
So there are some cars, like some of those more underpowered cars that don't brake.
Right.
And they're essentially just lift for that corner, and that's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And when you nail that 1-2 combination, it's so fucking sweet.
It is.
Because it just launches you to that on that straightaway. And honestly, I would reel in cars. Like to 3, through 3.
Yeah.
I would reel in cars, and then of course they all had more horsepower than me, and then they would just disappear.
Yeah.
So like when I was behind that Hellcat, I reeled them in the whole way.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Until we got to 3, and then gone.
Right.
Just
exactly.
Gone.
Yeah. But being in the advanced group, we got tons of unobstructed lap time.
Yeah.
It seemed like attendance dropped off throughout the day. There were less people in the evening session than there were in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And we had some completely... the last time we went out, I was riding with you. We had, 5 laps without a single person passing us or us needing to pass anyone.
It was awesome.
That is amazing.
Yeah. It was
not
it was
even
so
having
great.
to think about other cars that entire time.
It was so nice. And that's when I was like within a second of like all of my laps.
Yeah. You were nailing it.
It was fun.
Yeah. That was fantastic. So, track day was a rousing success. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
So anyway, go to your friendly neighborhood track day.
Definitely.
It's a great time, and people are awesome and super
talked
nice.
to everyone. We met some fantastic people, including the youths that said that your car was their dream car, and we had to tell them like, oh, you need to set higher goals for yourself, right? I feel bad for you, right? And
dream higher,
right?
Dream
right.
Bigger is
And
what
then,
I said,
then do you remember I asked them? I looked straight at them. And I was like, "Do you have a 6-figure salary?" No. And I was like, "Then you cannot maintain this car."
It's sadly very true.
Yeah.
Sadly true.
Yeah. And so there we go.
Did you like in the also on our website? Did you read my bio?
Yes.
Where I said. I was making a joke about
the mechanics. Yeah, sending their
Denver.
kids to Harvard.
Yeah.
Yes, that was fantastic. Yes. Ian.
Yes.
That was track day.
day.
We need to hustle because we have to go be legitimate automotive journalists in a little bit.
Or get fired or not fired, but kicked out
exactly.
of legitimate automotive journaling.
Yeah, we're going to the auto show, but you'll hear all about that at another time.
Later this week.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
If you're listening to this Thursday.
There you go.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow. If you're watching on Twitch, it's going to be a few days. Anyway.
So let's talk about this Reuters article.
Yes, definitely.
And then we'll do some listener FM. We'll do like maybe one listener FMK cars.
Yeah, because we got to wrap it up.
And we got to wrap it up and we got to go. Okay. So Reuters broke a story this week, yesterday, the 4th, about some more detail on Trump's, and this is we have an automotive. I'll do it. It's
Okay.
fine. We have an automotive swear jar, and one of the things is Donald Trump not on the after show.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and just go ahead and do
Yeah.
that. But anyway, it's relevant. There was some more detail that came out around his proposed budget, which is still just a plan. It's not, obviously it's not even to Congress or anything yet.
Right.
It's still a blueprint. But the plan would cut the budget for testing EPA or for EPA testing of vehicles by 99%.
Yep.
This is obviously troubling and should be troubling even to the enthusiast perspective, and I want to talk about that, about why that is. But basically, the year after, we're less than a year out
from the VW
from Dieselgate.
Yeah.
Which happened because the EPA didn't have enough resources to properly test vehicles, first of all.
Exactly.
And then the only reason that it got remedied was that the EPA could then verify the testing that had been done by a third party. By a third party.
Yeah.
And so I've seen some people arguing that, oh, well, the EPA didn't find that in the first place, so what difference does it make? Which is some fucking mental gymnastics. Because, first of all, if the EPA is the one setting the standards, it should be able to verify those, in some way, or
have the resources to do so.
Yeah, or if somebody has some great proposal to privatize that testing and outsource it, and there's a legitimate reason to do that, fine.
Right, go ahead and do it. But the testing still needs to be done.
Right. And this is kind of gets back to something we talked about on the after show a few weeks ago about the deep state thing.
Yes.
And the nature of bureaucracy. And what it actually means. So it's easy to get wrapped up in this, philosophical debate about like what's the role of the federal government and all this other things, when that ends up being a trap, because you end up completely ignoring the issue of outcomes.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so if the outcome is that we have air that looks like the 1970s, the early 1970s, then the question you shouldn't start with how is this going to affect my philosophical ideas about what the role of government is. It's how do we fix that problem?
Right.
And, if you want to start with examining free market solutions or whatever, that's fine.
Right.
I don't really care.
Right.
And
exactly.
I don't think anybody really cares.
I just want to breathe clean air.
Right. But it just so happens that we have this mechanism set up.
Right.
At its core is to solve problems in a unified way, right?
Right.
Whether that problem is national defense.
Yep.
Hey, hordes of people are attacking us.
Right.
We should probably form some sort of collective to stop that from happening.
Exactly.
That is the national defense role that all the conservatives like to say is the only role of the government. But at its core, there was an outcome that we didn't like.
Yep.
We're unprotected.
Right.
And then a method to solve it.
Establish
together.
a military. Yep.
Together.
Right. Exactly.
And you can do that with anything. And it's fine to have debate about where that should be done or how it should be done.
Sure.
It's hard to argue that environmental things, though, should be left to the states, since, things that go into the atmosphere in Colorado definitely drift into other states.
Exactly. Right.
We all have one atmosphere.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Just these big glass walls that rise up.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Which in Colorado would just be bong smoke and fish tunes.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Right.
Yeah, the fish tunes would just echo and be terrible.
No, awful. No, we don't want that. But you're exactly right. We need to think as a country for an issue like this. Right. So, and also by doing this, if we're going to say start to look at free market solutions or other third party types of solutions, we are abandoning the establishment that we already have, the establishment that has been working and been doing a very good job. Not to say that establishment couldn't be doing better, but it has suffered from a lack of funding for decades when it comes to power plant inspections, nuclear power plant inspections. Like the EPA has been short-staffed under the Obama administration. He couldn't get funding for it.
Pretty much for its entire existence, it's been understaffed.
Right.
And again, so people forget that these are professional people doing a job that needs to be done.
Yes, exactly.
They also forget, I think, that that profit motive. We just went through a really good demonstration of why profit motive, or the invisible hand, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, is ill-suited to policing environmental issues, right?
Exactly.
Because the incentive is not to maintain is not to help the environment, as Volkswagen very plainly showed us last year.
Exactly, right? And we can't just trust a company to operate ethically.
Right. I mean, we should be able to,
but we can't. This is the real world.
That's the economic theories that we should be able to. But when we know that the outcome is that doesn't happen in specific cases,
yes,
then we need to act, right?
You're exactly right.
And we
pulling funding from the EPA is the exact opposite of what should be done.
Right?
Yeah, it's bullshit. It's super infuriating.
It's insane.
Yeah,
it's insane. And again, we've talked about this before, but what I think is necessary for us as enthusiasts to keep in mind is that there is a reckoning of all of this environmental impact that is going to come.
Yes.
No matter what happens with this administration or Congress in the future, or what doesn't happen, or at the states or whatever, all of that is completely decoupled from the reality of we're going to have to fix the things that we've fucking broken.
Yes.
And it would be a good idea, if we don't want our toys to get taken away when all of the appliances get taken away.
Yep.
That we're seen as partners in this and not just obstructionist Jeremy Clarkson clones.
Exactly. You're exactly right.
And so we need to be, as a group, more vocal about this, and again, seen as a partner, because the car enthusiast, like, nobody gives a shit about your Triumph Spitfire that you drive, 12 days a year.
Right.
That's not the problem.
Right.
And I think most serious people, when they start to examine that, would agree.
Right.
But only if we're involved in the discussion in the first in a constructive way.
Exactly.
If we just spend all our time shitting on hybrids and electric cars, then that's not going to do anything for us.
Exactly. As the subject matter experts for these kinds of things, we have to set that expectation for the people that are going to be interpreting our opinions and what we want, and what the general public wants.
Right. Yeah. Why would anyone give us our little cutout?
Right.
If we've just been nothing but
shitting on Priuses.
Right. I mean, the Prius is not a good. The Prius is not a good car. We can advocate for these things being good cars,
but it needs to coexist.
That's a separate discussion. We do not have time for it.
Okay.
We do not have time for it.
Okay.
All right. But anyway, so that's it. I highly recommend reading the Reuters article. Jalopnik had good coverage of it as well.
Yes.
It's all over the place. Definitely seek it out and read it and get informed on it, and start bugging your Congress people about it.
Yes.
So that's our political advocacy for today.
Yes, it is. Ian?
Yes.
The point that you made about us not just becoming Jeremy Clarkson clones, that was fucking well said, man.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that you put a wonderful bow on it.
Thanks.
Okay, let's just do 2 listener FMK cars.
We'll do
that. One of Nick Lindy's.
Okay.
And we have a listener that sent us an email.
Yes, and it was a very complimentary email, which of course, made me immediately uncomfortable.
You have a spam. You just mark it as spam, and then spam. Yeah, no, from an awesome guy named Harley.
Yep.
And
you want to do which one? You want to do first?
Go ahead and give me Harley's.
Okay.
I'll give the description of FMK Cars.
Okay.
FMK Cars is a game that Ian and I invented while I was bored at a conference in Los Angeles. It is the classic game Fuck, Marry, Kill that people play with people, but we play it with cars because we're nice and not deplorable monsters. So, in this scenario, we give each other a car and you have to decide FMK. F means you hit it and quit it. You drive it for a day. M means you marry it. It is your daily driver, warts and all. K means you kill it. You send it to the crusher immediately. Ian?
Yes.
Hit me with your FMK cars.
Okay, so this is from Harley in Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Yes.
Awesome. So, first one. So there's some catches with this. First one, 1971 Jensen Interceptor hardtop.
I love the Jensen Interceptor
Who
so much.
Who doesn't
right,
love the Jensen Interceptor?
Yes.
It's the fucking greatest, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, Jensen Interceptor.
Yep.
Okay. Look at that.
Who doesn't love that?
Right?
It's the greatest. Here's the catch. It will have 5 very large King Ranch badges on it.
Yes.
And it will be painted brown.
Okay.
To be honest, I think brown is the best color on a Jensen Interceptor.
Yeah. I was like, why is this a catch? But he's getting into our thing about people putting badges from other cars on other cars. So,
which is ridiculous.
Right.
Yes.
So
I like that twist.
Yes.
Okay, so the second one, 1988 BMW M5. It's the E28.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. So the
what
catch
year
here
was
is,
it again? I'm sorry.
88.
88. Okay. Oh, yeah. The M5?
M5.
Oh, God. It was so gorgeous.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. All right.
So the catch here, there you go, right there. There's that blue one. Ooh, I like that blue.
Right. Look
I
at
like that blue.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
I don't think I've ever seen one in that blue before.
Beautiful.
Here's the catch. 2 large turbo stripes running down each side.
Yep.
This car is not turbocharged. Oversized exhaust pipe from AutoZone. And he says he calls those dick pipes, which is pretty funny.
Yes.
Okay. The last car. 2005 Dodge Durango V6.
Oh.
No catch. You're just a dweeb.
Yeah, that is an awful car.
I had a coworker that had one of those.
Yeah, those are.
It's that one.
Which one? This one?
This one right here. Yeah, you've got the right one.
Oh God, it's
so terrible.
It could be said that it is the only car worse than a Journey.
No, that's what the Journey replaced.
Yeah.
You swore.
Yeah.
If
your evolution is a journey, then you're exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Woo! Dodge Durango. I am killing the Durango.
You've got to.
Okay.
Even with no catches on it.
Yep. Bye browser tab.
Yeah.
Okay, so killing the Durango. I am effing the BMW with the turbo stickers, right? Because I would not be able to sleep at night knowing that I had a car that had the word turbo on it.
That wasn't
turbo. Even though back in the day, and they talked about this on old Top Gear, where the word turbo was just used as a euphemism for fast.
Yeah,
right?
Or cool.
Yeah, exactly. So they would have things that said turbo, but they didn't have a turbocharger.
Right.
Right? Anyway, if my car said turbo and it wasn't a turbo, I would not be able to sleep at night. I would just be tossing and turning in bed like, oh, God. I'd have like sandpaper in my hand or like my heat gun.
That's
and just
awesome.
Couldn't do it. So I could do that for a day. And then I'm going to marry the Jensen Interceptor with the King Ranch stickers in brown.
I like it.
What would you do, Ian?
I think I would marry the BMW.
You would, even though it says turbo?
Yeah, it's just so cool.
Okay.
I love that car.
Okay.
And then obviously I would crush the Durango because sweet Jesus.
Yeah.
And then for a day? Jensen
Yeah.
Interceptor.
You and I are growing mustaches for a day, and we're driving around in a Jensen Interceptor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I look terrible with a mustache.
So do I.
Because everything on my body, all of the hair on my body, which is a lot, just goes straight out. So like my hair This is 3 pounds of product to get it to not just be straight out of my head. And my facial hair does the exact same thing. It reaches a point after like a week and a half where it just goes like. Do you remember the episode of South Park where the Trapper Keeper episode?
Yes.
Where it's just like assimilate.
Yes.
That's what my mustache looks like. It looks like it's trying to absorb Barbara Streisand.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So not a good look.
No.
Mine grows in kind of blonde on the top and dark on the bottom.
I like that.
So it looks like I just fucked up eating an Oreo cookie or something. and also just thin and ginger and not. Oh no, me with a mustache. Me with a little bit of scruff. I think looks okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. My mustache comes in like a wire brush.
Yeah. Just.
Like, I could clean your battery terminals, but that's the only thing that's good for it.
Yeah. Oh, God, I messed up.
Maybe I'm going to clean your battery terminals.
Yes, I messed up our Twitch. Oh, God, I dragged the thing
It's been a while since I've done the creepy voice.
I know, creepy voice.
Yeah.
Ian, we have one more FMK cars. We're going to do one of Nick Lindy's FMK cars.
And then we have to go.
We have to go.
We can't be late for our first legit automotive journalist thing.
Nope. Okay, so these are cars he would love to buy. Okay. 1995 Toyota Supra Turbo, Ian. And let me hop over to the browser. 1995. I think we all know what this looks like, but I'm going to pull up an image of it anyway.
Get rid of the fucking Durango.
I know. I'm sorry. Supra. Oh, God. Supra, save us from the Durango. Save us from the Durango, right?
Yay.
Yeah, the fish face whale tail Supra. Okay?
Yep.
All right. Yep. So then... Let's see here. So view image. Okay, then what else do we got? We have a 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse GST. Love it. Okay. All right. Picking up a 90s theme.
Well, it's all 95. All 95.
Yeah. Yes. Eclipse. Yes. 1995 Mitsubishi Eclipse. Love it. It is a fantastic car.
Yeah.
Front wheel drive, turbo. Awesome.
Isn't that all-wheel drive?
Oh, yeah, or the all-wheel drive. Yes.
I think the GST was all-wheel.
I can't remember. Don't look it up,
I'm
Ian.
sorry.
We don't have time.
I'm sorry, DSM people.
We don't have time.
And
then
GSX?
lastly, I think GSX was all-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Acura NSX 1995 for the last one. And here it is right there. Beautiful. We love the NSX so much. Okay.
Yes.
So, Ian, what would you do? Supra Eclipse NSX 1995, and I just assume that you have to listen to the Turn of the Century podcast, which we love, during your entire time in the car.
Good job sneaking that in there.
Thank you.
I would say I'm gonna crush the Eclipse.
You are? Okay.
I'm gonna marry the NSX, and I will drive the Supra for a day.
Okay. All right.
And I'm just gonna roll up to people at stoplights and say, "I live my life a quarter mile at a time." In the Supra. That's what I'll do for a day in the Supra.
We've talked before about what I want to do with the Toyota Supra. I want to take off the whale tail, make it the ultimate GT, right? So I would marry that. I would drive the Honda NSX for a day because, for the love of God, right?
Yeah.
You have to. And then, unfortunately, I would kill the Eclipse because, I love a super fast, over-turboed front-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
It hurts. That one hurts. That one hurts, Ian.
Yeah.
It hurts.
But you know what? It has to. We got to rip the Band-Aid off. We have to leave
We do.
right
We have
now.
to go. We have to go. So, TeamClearCoat.com is where you should go for all your things.
And we're done with plugs.
We're done with
That
plugs.
is the whole reason I did this, was just so we would only have a 2-second plug segment instead of Dave listing websites for 30 minutes.
Oh, God, right? Ian.
Go to TeamClearCoat.com for all the things.
And
we're done.
And we're done. All right. Closing them down. All right. Thank you, Twitch. Thank you, Ian. All right. Goodbye.
Goodbye. We love you.